Hello everyone, the title of this video is the best microgreen grow lights. We're going to do a comparison of 3 different grow lights that we have here in a little bit of a different setup so that you guys can make a decision on what you would like to use. This is intended for our rack system. That way you can get everything started. You can start pretty much anything. Beets, collards, onions, sunflower, whatever type of things you're trying to grow. The main focus here is for microgreens, but you can grow anything you want as far as starting them off under these lights. First of all, let's start off with the rack itself, that way we can get a basis for that. Then we'll move into the lights themselves, and then we'll compare the grow of the plants we have here, and then lastly we'll give you our thoughts on these lights. So what we have here is a control group. All of this is radish micros that were planted at the exact same time. These are just about ready to harvest. We have the rack is set up here. It is a 5 foot by 2 foot by 6.5 feet tall rack. And it also has 5 shelves on that. The trays themselves, these trays here are 12 inches by 24 inches, and that is industry standard for us. These came from the paper pot company. We use them for many various different things, but industry standard is supposedly 10 inches by 20 inches. So we're just a little bit bigger than industry standard for other folks that do microgreens. On the very top rack here, we have a sun blaster, which is a fluorescent light. On the second rack, we have 2 HLG propagators, that's horticulture lighting group. Down here on the third shelf down, we have the Good Earth 46-inch LED light. And then down on the very bottom, just to make things fair, we put down 2 of the sun blaster lights in the same fashion as we have the horticulture lighting group lights right up here on this shelf up here. So industry standard is to run 1 sun blaster on a rack system that's a little bit smaller than this, but not by very much, and a little bit smaller trays. So let's get into the lights themselves and the specifications of those. So the sun blasters are a 48-inch T5, and they are 6,400 Kelvin at 54 watts. They are linkable, so you can link the lights together. I believe it's just 2 lights you can link together. And they are switched, so that's kind of nice. You can turn them on and off if you want to. And they are about $50 each, is about how much they cost roughly. It depends on where you look. Some places are cheaper, some places are more expensive. I will say with these sun blasters, be very careful. We did order from one place that shipped them in a very horrible fashion. So cheaper may not be better as far as your shipping quality. The lights came in broken, half the lights were broke. They shipped them individually. It took forever for them to come in, so be aware of that. You might want to pay a little bit higher price for the sun blasters to get better quality of shipping. Next we have the Good Earth light, which is a 46-inch LED light. It is 182 watts, and the Kelvin rating is different because it is switched. It has 3 different switches for different lights you can turn on. It's got one for propagation, a light for vegetation, and when you turn all 3 on, it can do flower and fruit stage if I'm not mistaken. They are switched. They do have a timer on them, which is kind of a nice thing. They are linkable as well, so a few benefits there, and they are roughly about $130. Sometimes these are on sale at Lowe's for about $100, but we're just going to keep it for $130 for the time being, just so you can kind of compare things in case they're not on sale one day. And lastly, we have the horticultural lighting group lights that are right up here, the propagator. They are linkable. They are not switched, but they do come in a 2-pack, and the Kelvin rating on them is 4,000. 4,000 is just good for starting things in a rack system like this. You're never going to get a really large plant because you're not going to have enough room for them to grow. So all this is just for starting plants, whatever type of plants you want to start. It doesn't really matter. That's a good Kelvin rating for that. Alrighty, and that is a 2-pack for that price of $124. And those are also a 30-watt light, just in case I didn't already say that, 30 watts for each light. So that's interesting. So now with the 1 sun blaster up here, how many watts we're running is 54 watts on this shelf here. On the second shelf down here with the propagators by HLG, we are running at 60 watts total. Down here with all 3 lights on the Good Earth 46-inch LED light, we're running 182 watts. Then we jump down to where we have 2 of the sun blaster lights running right now, and they are going to be right at 108 watts. So as you can tell right now, the least amount of wattage that we're running right here is on the HLG propagators. They are slightly more expensive, but when you do 2 lights of the sun blasters at $100 and you get the 2-pack of the HLG lights, which are total of $124, you're probably going to make up your energy savings really quick by going with the HLG propagators as opposed to the sun blasters. All right, so I think we've gone to that pretty good on the lights themselves to talk about that. Now let's compare the grow. One thing I do want to note is this light right here behind me was on during this entire grow. We did try to have these radish up here on the very top away from that light, but you're going to see something very interesting. But these lights over here did affect this side of the shelf. On top, you can see the single sun blaster, how it's operating on the right hand side. And of course, there's the issue with this side where it was trying to grow toward the other lights. But this is the darker side. We'll come down here to the propagators. As you can see, we're not experiencing that same situation there. Quite a big difference on the grow. Now let's come down here to the good earth light. A little bit blown out there, see if I can get a better angle on it. But as you can see, the edges don't really want to grow toward the light. We'll come down here to the 2 sunblaster lights. Doing much better with 2 of them, but they're still not quite as good of growth. The leaves aren't as wonderful, and they are still trying to fall over. Of course, these are a little bit too, it is harvest time. We should have done this a little bit earlier, but for video's sake. And next what we'll do is we'll take them right over here to the table on my other side here, set them down and get a good look underneath the light, all individual, so you can see how they grow in on those. So there is the sun blaster right there versus the HLG propagator. Then next over here, you have the good earth light, and then 2 sun blasters. One thing I wanted to show you was the height of the grow. Hopefully we can get that in this shot. Height of the grow on this edge is not very high. Toward the center, it's okay. It's about 7 inches. Also, you can tell by the density of the leaves. These barely have any leaves on them, while the center looks good where it was underneath that light there. Let's go to the HLG. They're about 7 inches all the way across. Don't mind me, I'm trying to use one hand to go at this here. All the way across, and the leaves look quite nice all the way around. So as far as time and money and efficiency, I'd say this is probably what you're looking for. Over here is the good earth light. In the very center, the leaves look quite nice, but out here toward the edge, they're not so great. There again, about 6 inches on this on growth, and you get out toward the edges, it's just a little bit less. And we'll move over here to these, try and give them a quick measure. Again, my apologies, I'm doing the best I can here. And they're not even quite 6 inches, right around 6 inches, somewhere in that range. So long and short, with this experiment, we could have harvested with this particular radish way earlier than all the rest. Also, way better grow. You can tell there's going to be way more nutrient in the plants because of the quality of the light. And also the quality of the greens. We started off doing this thinking we would only get about roughly 14.5 ounces per flat. When we started off with the sun blasters, we were quite disappointed because of look at the grow. I mean, it just doesn't look like a great, wonderful product. It's not uniform. However, this here has been doing great. With these lights, we've been able to produce quite a bit more than that. We've been able to produce roughly, as far as radish goes, over a pound per tray, if not even 24 ounces sometimes per tray. So lighting is a big deal if you're in production. Finally, our thoughts on the lights. As you can probably tell by what you've seen so far, it looks like the HLG propagators for a rack system is the best way to go. We do actually like the way the good earth light grows. It actually does quite well. The bad news is on a rack system, it doesn't seem to work very well because we have to have these turned in a certain position. That way we can get the maximum amount of grow area that we possibly can. It would actually work better if this was shifted 90 degrees and we would have perfect grow off of it. So I think this light down here is probably the second best because you can do what you want. I think it's a great starter light for doing anything that you wanted to start. With the light options that you have on it, it already has a timer on it, all of that. All the other lights don't have a timer on them, but we do have a timer that they are set on. It's just they're not attached to the light themselves. I do recommend using a timer if you're doing any sort of indoor lighting whatsoever, like this grow lighting. It just makes everything better. And the great thing about that one is it's already there, so you don't have to worry about that. And second is going to be the sun blasters. Because of their higher energy costs most likely, and also that they don't seem to perform quite as well as the HLG propagator in this situation. So if you were wanting to get into microgreens in any sort of commercial scale or growing anything for that matter, starting off plants in a rack system, I think the HLG propagator is the way to go, and that's what we're going to go with. We're actually going to go ahead and take out all these sun blasters and replace all those with the propagators. So we're looking forward to it. We need to get some more racks down here to have more grow space for the future, so that's what we're going to do. Well, thank you all so much for watching. We greatly appreciate it. We hope y'all enjoyed the video. We hope that it was helpful for you. That was the main intent of this video. Anyway, well, we appreciate it. If you liked the video, give it a like, give it a subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Y'all have a good one.